So Ohio State's defense has given up 27 points in 4 games. Meanwhile, its offense, the only reason it didn't score 40 points against Michigan State in a 38-7 win is because they walked into the fourth quarter with 38 points and went, we're good. Put Devin in there. Put Julian in there. Let's just get freaky with this thing, right? I'm Steven. That's Andrew. That's Stefan. We're in it now, Stefan. They've played a Big Ten game. They've played 3 non-conference games. We have a good sample size of what Ohio State is. Oregon is in 2 weeks. They play Iowa next week. Obviously, Penn State, Nebraska, Michigan, all those teams on the schedule. And obviously, the playoff is down the line here. Just evaluate Ohio State. I'm just going to leave it as open as possible. Evaluate where you think Ohio State is and where you think it sits in the national landscape as it heads into the meat of its schedule.
Well, everything we've thought about the talent on this roster and its potential is true, and I think other guys have emerged. We're talking about Arvell Reese. We're talking about even Jeremiah Smith. I know the hype with him, but, for him to be where he's at already, I think is surprising in its own way. Like, we've seen guys emerge to add to a very talented roster, and now it's about making it click and making everything work together. And all the signs point to this team can do that. This team can be the best team in the country. This team can, compete with the Oregons, the Iowas, the Nebraskas, the Penn States without much trouble in terms of getting into the win column. The only thing that concerns me so far, and we just did a video talking about the concerns with the defense and various things. It all kind of points back to these first halves and things just not working, especially on opening drives, the first couple drives of games. The defense is giving up points on opening drives. The offense, in the Akron game, looked a little bit sloppy in the start. We had some, a near interception, then an interception by Will Howard early in this game against Michigan State. If this team comes out ready and comes out strong early in games, I don't think they're going to have many issues. But when you get to a stretch where you start playing these tougher teams, you don't want to go into a place like Oregon and go into a place like Penn State and suddenly you're down 10-0, 14-0, and you're like, whoa, where did this come from? And you're facing adversity that you haven't faced yet this season, and it's coming against a really good opponent. So that's the biggest thing for me just going forward. This team has everything in terms of talent, in terms of coaching. I mean, Chip Kelly's been outstanding so far. I think Jim Knowles has been pretty good in his play calling early on. Ryan Day in his new head coaching role, I think, has been great. Everything is there for this team to be one of the best, if not the best, in college football this year. And maybe, we're talking about this team as one of the best in the last however many years of college football. But it's got to click, and I think a lot of it starts with how they come out early in games.
And you evaluate the 2024 Buckeyes.
They're really good. I think one of the things that has been most impressive for me, and in earmuffs here, Steven, they can run the ball really well. And that is their fastball. And we saw it tonight when they played Michigan State. I think we've seen this through the first couple games. I know that the opponents have not exactly been great. There's going to be a big test coming against Iowa, a potentially bigger test coming against Oregon in terms of like defensive line talent. Penn State's got a really good defense. Like, there's more coming. But the fact that Ohio State can run the ball, the fact that the offensive line, in my view, is playing fairly well. I think, you might even be in a situation, I think, where you can make a change on the offensive line and get even better. Austin Sierreveld might be the starter over Tegra Shabola soon. I think he's played very, very well in these first couple of games. So the offensive line is really solid. You can run the ball. They've got weapons on the outside. I sent this out to our texters. The diversification of this offense has me very, very excited for what Ohio State can do. So I think Ohio State is kind of right where we thought they would be. It just might not be the way that we thought that they would get there, right? I think when we talked about this team for so long over the offseason, this defense is going to be great. And if this defense is what we think it is, this defense could be the equivalent of 2019 LSU and 2020 Bama, right? It's just they're playing defense, not offense. That's how good this defense could be. People were talking about, could this be 2011 Bama defense? And there are things to clean up defensively. You mentioned in one of our other videos, there's something maybe a little bit off with the corners. Stefan mentioned some slow starts. There are some things that have been kind of an issue here. But the offense has made up for that, in my opinion. So they are exactly where we think they are, or we thought they were going to be, and that is one of the best teams in college football. Top 3, maybe the best team in college football. And if we had done this pod in June or July, that's exactly where we thought we'd be.
They've given up 27 points in 4 games. I think the defense is not as bad as maybe people thought it was going to be. Here's what I actually think. Pick on somebody your own size. And it's not their fault, right? They had a non-conference game scheduled against Washington for this season, and then the Huskies joined the conference. And so you can't have a non-conference game against someone who's in your conference. So that home and home got canceled. But even if it didn't, even if Washington didn't join the conference, Caleb DeBoer is at Alabama now. So that game would still have not been what it was expected to be. So we'd still be in this position. Pick on somebody your own size. They don't have a chance to do that yet. In 2 weeks, they're going to do it. And everything you guys are going to talk about, it's either going to end up being negative or it's going to end up being a positive. But I think right now, I'm done being nitpicky. I'm done with it. I did it at halftime. I didn't feel good about it. Go read that. Go get the text 614.
You're just ready for vacation.
Yeah, but that's a while from now. I'm just look. We're a long way off from vacation, my friend. I think this team is very, 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 very good, and everything we keep saying is like, so we've given up 27 points in 4 games. I don't know what to do with that. So the best thing I can say right now, it's lazy analysis, but it's what I'm going to say. I'm going to let you guys be the smart guys because they're very, very smart. And I agree with everything they both just said. See you in 2 weeks, man. See you in 2 weeks. And I'm expecting Iowa, the game, to play out just like this one did, where maybe Iowa gets some stuff going early, and then we get to the end of it, it's like, okay, we won by 35 points. Now what? So see you in 2 weeks, Oregon. Because then Ohio State gets to pick on somebody their own size. And if they do to them what they've done to these 4 opponents and what I think they might do to Iowa, well, we're all going to be quiet because this team is officially boring good. I'm Steven. That's Stefan. That's Andrew. Get the text 614-350-3315 if you want to hear more about boring good Ohio State. Go listen to Buckeye Talk wherever you find podcasts. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.